If you are anything like me, you probably have tried out those diets that cut out all carbs, that cut out all sugar, desserts, and really cut out the enjoyment in life. Well, I am Amy from A Red Spatula, and I'm here to tell you that there's a better way, that there is a way that you can still enjoy moderation and eat healthy foods at the same time. Now, the spiced pear cake is a perfect example. While you may not have dessert every day, you should certainly enjoy it when the time feels right. But what I love about the spiced pear cake is that it also is a healthier version of its original recipe that I created many years ago. And it's healthier because of the addition of whole wheat flours. If you feel intimidated by adding whole wheat flours to your baked goods, I am going to show you how. Not only will I teach you step by step how to make this cake, but I am also going to be sharing tips and tricks throughout this video of how you can incorporate whole wheat flour into your own cakes at home. So let's go ahead and get started. Whole wheat pastry flour is a really great whole wheat flour for cakes. It's a lower protein, it's kind of like a cake flour, so that means you get really tender baked goods, kind of like you're expecting. Now, another tip before you ever bake in a bundt cake pan, especially one with deep ridges like this, you're going to want to make sure that you brush it really well with melted butter first, getting in all the cracks. And then you sprinkle it with flour, and then you just kind of move this around the pan, tap it all the way around to spread it out. This will make sure that your cake releases like you want it to. Once that's done, go ahead and set it aside, and then we get started. Now, when you're baking with pears, it's really important too that you use pears that aren't quite soft or really ripe. They're going to soften up when you bake them, and if they're already soft to begin with, what's going to happen is that they're going to be really mushy instead of holding their shape. So go ahead and cut up your pears, chop them up, get them ready, and set those aside, and then we're going to start on the batter. The next tip is I love to use butter and canola oil in my cakes. Canola oil, again, will help that cake to be tender, but the butter adds flavor. So I love using the two, especially with whole wheats. The next tip is once you add in those eggs, do not over mix. Your cake will start to be very tough if you do at this point. So what I do is I just mix it to incorporate it. Now, another tip, this has nothing to do with whole wheat flour, but a way to make your recipes a one bowl recipe is that you add your flour on top, and then you add your, in this case, baking powder and your spices on top of that and mix them in. Sorry about the video, you can't really see, but you can mix them in with a fork right on top. Last in is your pears, and you're going to want to mix these with a rubber spatula. That way you're not breaking them up. You just kind of mix them throughout the batter. The batter goes into your pan and right into the oven. The next tip is do not over bake your baked goods. This is really important, especially with whole wheat flour that absorbs more moisture. I even like to pull them out just a little bit early. It's going to feel just a tiny bit underbaked, but as that carryover cooking completes, it'll wind up with a perfect doneness. Now I brushed with a spiced syrup, which you'll see in the recipe, and then sprinkled with a little bit of cinnamon sugar. You don't have to add either of these. You can leave them off if you want. The cake's just as good without it, but I love it. And here is the finished cake. It's done and amazing.